Welcome in. It is day 115, and you're speaking with the Meeples Champion. And today we're jumping into a different category of game that I really haven't brought up before. It's not a big one for me. I tend to stay away from this category. It's essentially a party game. I'm more into the, thematic games that have really strong mechanisms like worker placement, bag building, deck building. Those are the games for me. But you have to acknowledge also what are the games that are going to get to a table. And a lot of times at a family event, party games are what are going to get out there. Well, I found this party game many years ago, and this edition was a big hit with my family for quite a long time. So I'm pulling out today Wits and Wagers Party Edition. So the concept of Wits and Wagers is pretty straightforward. A lot of the times when you're playing a trivia game, the reason I won't play them is because you need to know things. Not to say I don't know anything, not to say anybody doesn't know anything, but there's always somebody who's like really, really good at it, or somebody who's really, really weak at it, and it makes it unfun for either side. It's not fun for the people who have to play with somebody who's going to crush them, and it's not fun if you're playing and everybody crushes just the one person. You want a way that it can be competitive. The way Wits and Wagers does that is, there's a two-step process. First is they ask the question, and it's always number-based. It's a year, it's an amount, it's something that can be written down as a number. Everybody writes their number in. You all do it face down, and then when it's time, you reveal your player boards, and you put them in order from lowest to highest. Now, everybody has 2 chips, and they're your own colors, and at your own pace. You could go right away, you could wait a bit, and you can change it as you're going. Everybody has to lock these in somewhere. Now, you can vote on yourself, you can vote on somebody else. You could decide, hey, I put out a number, I'm not sure if I'm right, so I'm going to vote for, somebody over here, and I have my board in the middle. Now, when everything's done, you're going to reveal who the winning board is. Now, you don't have to be correct to get it. They might say to you, what year was a certain celebrity born in? And everybody gives a different year, and nobody's right. If that's the case, whoever is the closest to that year will win. And in the case that 2 people have the exact same number, or that 2 people are equally far apart, if the year is 1990 and you have a 1987 and a 1993, then both those boards win, and every chip bet on them wins. And in those cases, you each get a poker chip back for every correct one you had. So potentially you get up to 3 chips if you bet both of your chips onto your board. So you do this, and you're going to go through so many rounds. I want to say it's 6 total rounds. And in the final round, when you're bidding, you don't just bet with your chips. At this point, all the poker chips you've earned, you can use them as well. Now, the way that works is that if you choose to bid, you can either put out your 2 individual chips by themselves, or you can put them out and you can stack poker chips underneath them. So if you were to bid with 3 chips underneath your chip, if you lose your 3 poker chips. But if you're right, you'd get back your 3. Each of those would get an additional back, which makes 6, plus the 1 for the one that you had for your actual token on top of it, so 7. So you do this, you go through all your rounds, and then you count it all up and you see who got the most. There's possibilities of ties, at which point there really isn't a tiebreaker. But in all my years of playing, I've never seen at the final count an actual tie. Maybe once, but it's not an often occurrence. Well, that's the concept of the game. It's really straightforward and easy to play. But let's jump into our 7 categories and see where this ranks for you guys. The art of this game is, I'll be honest, it's just not impressive. The box is fine. I don't think it hurts it in any way. This is a party game. It's not meant to be amazing. But I don't feel it draws you in. And the inside of the game art is the same concept. Your little player boards are fun art, but it's nothing amazing. I don't think this is horrible. But the art I judge is based on, can it attract people in? And while I don't think this deters anyone, I don't think it draws people in. I have to give it a thumbs down. Surprisingly, you wouldn't think this, especially of a party game, but the components are actually not bad. You've got your player boards, which are a good dry erase board with a nice picture on it. You've got your player chips, which are nice cardboard, and you've got your additional poker chips that count as basically your points or money at the end. And those are really good. They're like a clay chip, which is actually really impressive. It's better than like the first 2 editions of actual poker chips I used playing poker growing up. It's closer to my 3rd edition chips, so it's actually pretty good. I think that these are definitely good components and something that is worthwhile. So, thumbs up. The price isn't bad. This is not a game you're going to go find in every store. You might find it in 1 out of every 5 real board game stores, but you will find this in a Barnes & Noble, maybe even in a Target on occasion, possibly even a Walmart. And it's going to be online, and this game's going to go for in that $40 range. It's not bad. If you have a big family or a bunch of friends and you like board games, but you're finding that most of them don't want to play your style games, but you want to do something that isn't just sitting there playing Trivial Pursuit, my opinion is if you're going to have to play a board game that is a party game, this is right at the top of that echelon because there is a little bit of strategy, and at the same time, it doesn't require you to have to really know a lot. It just gives you a chance to be in the ballpark. So I'm going to give it a thumbs up on that. This game's not difficult. It's, again, if you had to know dates or you had to know numbers, if you had to be able to really get knowledge out there, yes. But you don't. You just have to be able to make a guess, have some fun with it. If you know somebody's good at movies and then it's a movie question, well, guess what? You're probably bidding on their answer. If somebody's good at sports, if you know that somebody's really good with dates, with remembering people's birthdays, stuff like that, then you know the people to bid your chips towards. And your number is just a random guess, and it gives it a range. So there's no real difficulty here in that regard. At the same time, it's a party game. So for those expert and experienced players, this isn't for your regular board game night. This is for party game night. I think that this is extremely fine for what it is. If you're looking for a party game, you're looking for a not your regular board game night, this fits the bill. Thumbs up. The replayability is, it's okay. I think I've 2, maybe 3 times played it back-to-back games. This tends to be more of it's a Thanksgiving, it's a Christmas, something like that, and you pull it out. And you play it, you have a good time, but you're not trying to play it multiple times in a row. Or, maybe that's what your family does. Maybe you're going to get together and you're going to play a bunch of family games on that kind of a night. And if it is, then this could be great. But for me, I tend to like real board games, and this is the one I would pull out for the easy to get everybody to the table game. And then as we're doing it, kind of feeling out people, and then afterwards be like, all right, of the bunch of us who were playing, well, 3 of you are staying with me, and we're going to play the real game next. That's how I used it. But it's up to everybody else for how that works. So it's not a multiple an occasion on a night for me, and it doesn't get played wicked often. We're heading right now into the holiday season, so that's where this is going to have a chance. And once we hit January, it really kind of falls out for me for the rest, like most of the year. So I'm going to give it thumbs down on the replay. Keys to victory are pretty straightforward. Do you know the answers, which helps you get 1 point? Do you know the people who will know the answers, which helps you to bid to get points? And are you willing to risk it to win it? If you've only got a few chips at the end, well, you're going to want to risk it to try to get those up. But at the same time, if you're in 2nd or 3rd place, do you risk it and try to see if you can eclipse 1st place? Or do you say, nope, I'm good. I'm going to keep everything and hope that they risk it and they mess up? Well, that's the question. I think that there's plenty of opportunity for keys to victory, and there's nothing that's a guaranteed victory at all. The only exception being when somebody's blown away everybody in the first 4 or 5 rounds, and you get into there and you go, wow, 2nd place is less than half of 1st place. Well, obviously, 1st place already won. So long as they're not dumb and they don't bid any of their chips, they've won the game. But that's an occasion. So I'm going to give it a thumbs up. Is this unique? I will at some point bring out another game that is from the same company and is a different version of this. And that already makes this not unique. But this is just a party game. It's a combination of kind of poker and Trivial Pursuit in a way. And in that regard, it's not unique. It does a cool way of doing stuff, and definitely, for me, it's the choice I'd make of them. But a lot of people will look at this and still say, oh, I'd rather pick Trivial Pursuit. To them, it will be comparable. So I don't think it's unique. I gotta give it a thumbs down. Overall, what do I think? I think this game is a fun game that can be added to a collection. It's not too expensive. I think it'll be great for holidays. I think it'll be great for a lot of family and friend events. And there is, as I mentioned, other things to add into this, card updates for questions, expansions that change up a little bit how the game works. That makes this a lot of fun. So I think that this game is totally worth getting, but don't rush into it. If you're not into party games, don't touch it. If you aren't sure that you're really got a family that's going to get into this game, then maybe it's not worth it. But that's just my opinion. It's up to you guys to have to figure out, go out, see if you can get some party games to the table and see if this one fits the bill for you. Well, this is day 115, and we've been speaking about the game Wits Wagers Party. And you've been speaking to the Meeples Champion. Like, share, subscribe, and check down below in the description where I'll be adding an Amazon link in case you want to pick up this game for your collection. Until next time, I'll talk to you tomorrow.